Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Super Heavy Samurai Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for post-Eternity Code. With the release of Eternity Code, we got a very broken Super Heavy Samurai, and that is Super Heavy Samurai Wagon, and we also got the new level 5 Synchro. That definitely does help with the overall play style of the Super Heavy Samurai deck. I had some testing with this deck, and very happy with the results. It plays very well. For those of you that don't know, Super Heavy Samurais play around the fact that you don't run any spell or traps in your deck, focusing all on the different monsters to synchro summon out a bunch of the different Super Heavy Samurai boss monsters for the deck. It's a lot of fun. You can take your opponent's spell and traps, destroy your opponent's spell and traps, you name it. Plenty of plays to do with all the different monsters we run in the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the new monster, I'm running 3 Super Heavy Samurai Wagon with this one. When this card is normal or special summon, you can change its battle position. This card can attack while in face-up defense position, and if it does, apply its defense as damage calculation. And if you have no spell and traps in your graveyard, you can change this face-up defense position monster you control to attack position. And if you do, add 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Super Heavy Samurai Wagon once per turn, but with this card, you have the overall setup for your special summon plays, being able to search for another Super Heavy Samurai. And it's very useful for that search because you can go for the tuners that can special summon themselves out onto the field very easily and then make use of them for these synchro plays all together. So getting Wagon is very important. We have other Super Heavy Samurais to search out Wagon, so you don't have to worry about that. But just having this option available and then that easy search power with it as well, because even if you change it to attack position, you're just going to use it for these synchro plays. You don't have to worry about it being in attack position much more after that. And I also run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Soul Peacemaker. You can target 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster you control. Equip this monster from your hand or field to that target. And when this card is equipped to a monster by this effect, monsters your opponent controls cannot attack monsters you control except for the equipped monster. And you contribute a monster you control equipped to this card by this effect to special summon 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster from your deck. You can use this effect of Soul Peacemaker once per turn. So this setup, once you equip it onto a Super Heavy Samurai monster, even Wagon, like let's say you use the search to have Wagon search out Soul Peacemaker, then you can equip it onto Wagon, send it, and then get one of your bigger Super Heavy Samurai monsters out on the field, which works very well if you already have the tuner. Being able to search this card out is very important because then it gives you access to any of the other Super Heavy Samurai monsters you have in your deck altogether. And I also run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Scales. It's just an easy special summon with this card. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Super Heavy Samurai monster in your graveyard except Super Heavy Samurai Scales and special summon it in defense position. Like I said, when you have those monster resources in your graveyard, this is just an easy special summon to go for your synchro plays, being able to grab the tuner, not even using your normal summon yet either if your opponent has 2 or more monsters, special summoning Scales, and then giving that monster from your graveyard onto the field as well. So all these 3 ups, they just add so much to the deck and all of your different plays all together. And I also run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Flutist. You contribute this card to special summon 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster from your hand, and during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets the Super Heavy Samurai monster you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard and negate the activation. And if you do, destroy that card. You can only use each effect of Flutist once per turn. So even more extending the plays with the 3 Flutists, you contribute the Flutist to summon Wagon from your hand, use Wagon's effect to search it out, and then have that extra protection in your graveyard using Flutist, which is just overall good because you won't want your opponent to target the monster you're trying to set up to make either. So you can use Flutist to protect that monster just in case and destroy your opponent's card in the process. One of the bigger boss monsters, I run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Big Benkei. It's so easy to get Big Benkei out. It's why I'm only running the 2. You don't really need more than that because there's just a bigger chance you end up with dead draws in your hand. Since you need the other resources, which we spoke of already in the deck, to open up into your Big Benkei, which then can be used for some of your bigger synchro plays, including Super Heavy Samurai Warlord Susanoo, which just using this card and Trumpeter makes it that easier to summon out Susanoo onto the field. For some of the other lower number Super Heavy Samurai monsters, I also run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Magnets. When it's normal summoned, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Super Heavy Samurai monster from your hand, then change this card to defense position. Monsters your opponent control cannot attack any monster except this one. So potentially if you have the 2 magnets, you could do the lock in which your opponent can't attack you at all. But it's just another additional card that helps for, just like I said, extending more and more plays depending what you summon out onto the field and then go all together. They work very well as just a group of monsters to summon out the bigger and more important cards out onto the field. And I also run 3 super heavy samurai soul horns. We're going to go through all the monsters. Not going to be any spell or traps, like I said, so just a lot of monsters to get through. But with super heavy samurai soul horns, you can target one super heavy samurai monster you control, equip this monster from your hand or your side of the field to that target. You can make a second attack during each battle phase, and while this card is equipped to a monster with a card effect, you can special summon this card. And you can only use the effect of samurai soul horns once per turn. But the double attack really comes in handy for all of our powerful super heavy samurai monsters. Being able to attack twice, you can potentially hit your opponent for game if they have no other monsters on the field, or even if you're attacking into the weaker monsters, depending on which monster it is, they can just be enough to win for game also. And I also run 2 super heavy samurai big Waraji. If you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. After a special summon this way, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except super heavy samurai monsters. This card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a machine type monster. So it's just another easy way to special summon a resource out on the field, or if you just need that tribute for a big Benkei you have in your hand, you have that option available to you with this card also. And I also run 2 super heavy samurai thief. If you have any spell or traps in your graveyard, you can special summon. You don't have any. My mistake. You want to have no spell or traps in your graveyard. You can special summon this card from your hand. After you special summon it this way, you can special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except for super heavy samurai monsters. And you can destroy one card your opponent controls in the spell and trap card zone. And then you can set the destroyed spell or trap to your side of the field, being able to take your opponent's resources, and then destroy one card in your opponent's pendulum zone. And then you can place one of the destroyed card in your pendulum zone, which are still the spell and trap card zone, but you just have the options for the pendulum cards and the spell and traps depending on what this card works for. And name very fitting, being Samurai Thief, taking your opponent's cards to use as your own. Another great searcher for the deck is Super Heavy Samurai Soul Piercer. This one gives your Super Heavy Samurais piercing, and when it's sent to the graveyard, it just gives you another search for a Super Heavy Samurai monster. So just being able to equip it and then, have it sent to the graveyard. So you can even equip it onto, let's say, Wagon along with Soul Peacemaker, and then get the search for this card as well for that additional search along with the summon. So even if you don't have that particular Super Heavy Samurai monster in your hand yet, you can still use Soul Piercer to grab that card. So it's just an additional extender that you run in the deck to hopefully get the cards you need for your plays. And we're winding down. Just, I would say we have a good amount of Super Heavy Samurai still to go through, but like I said, main part of the deck, I run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Soul Buster Gauntlet. You can target a Super Heavy Samurai monster you control. Equip this monster from your hand, your side of the field to that target. It gains 400 defense, and during either player's damage step, when a defense position monster, Super Heavy Samurai monster you control battles an opponent's monster, and you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Your battling monster's defense becomes double its original. So being able to attack twice, double the attack, you name it, you're hitting for massive damage with your defense position Super Heavy Samurai monsters. Only 2 of it though, it's more of a situational play. Having that double attack set up, or just the piercing itself, definitely comes in handy, and these cards are searchers. Soul Buster Gauntlet, you just need that reliable play for the double damage against your opponent. If you're just attacking into an opponent's monster, attacking twice definitely helps more, because then you can destroy the one monster and then go for the second attack after that. And I also run 2 Samurai Soulfire Suit. Just more protection with this card against your opponent, being able to protect it from being destroyed by battle or card effects for the turn. All it does is lose 800 defense, but still worth it for sure, because then it just stays on the field and you don't have to worry about your opponent getting over any of your big synchros. And we spoke a lot about the monsters. We still have the tuners to go through. I'm running 3 Super Heavy Samurai Trumpeter. It's an easy special summon if you have no spell or traps in your graveyard. Special summoning it onto the field after you have all your resources set up. It's one of the ones I definitely like to search for with Soul Piercer, because then you can just add to your hand and easily special summon it. And if it's tribute summon for the tribute summon of a Super Heavy Samurai monster and you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, it's just another easy way to special summon it onto the field. So you're guaranteed to go for your synchro play with this, and then just rely on this card with Wagon as another easy special summon on the field to go for that, or any other extended monster you may have on the field also. And I also run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Battle Ball. With this one, you can use your opponent's monsters to basically summon out, special summon a Synchro Monster Super Heavy Samurai from your extra deck. It counts as a Synchro summon. You just don't use them for the Synchro play. You send both of them, and then whatever it equals out to, becomes that monster. So being able to use your opponent's resources and all the different level Super Heavy Samurai monsters we have as well makes for the awesome play to go for all together. And I also run one Super Heavy Samurai Drum. It's kind of like the giant rat for the deck. If it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target Super Heavy Samurai in your graveyard except for Drum and special summon it. But I also like it because it's a level 1 tuner, so it gives you more options for your synchro plays, just having the adjustable level 1 monster to run into the deck also, since Battle Ball and Trumpeter are both level 2 monsters. And lastly, to finish off the deck, I am running 3 of the Kaiju monsters, one Kumungus, one Jizukiru, and one Gadarla. For the different levels that these cards are, you have the different options to tribute your opponent's monsters, giving them the monster that you can use with your Super Heavy Samurai Battle Ball to go with the Synchro Plagues. If your opponent has an Exceed monster or a Link monster, you won't be able to, use those resources with Battle Ball, but if you use these to give them to your opponent, then that's a different story. You can then, use the resources while also taking care of their pesky monster on the field altogether. And that is it for the main deck. No spell or traps. This whole thing is monsters, but that's what makes the deck different, fun, and just, I said, a different take on, what Yu-Gi-Oh decks are meant to do. Moving on now to the extra deck for the new Synchro. I'm running 2 Super Heavy Samurai Swordmaster Musashi. It's a level 5 Super Heavy Samurai. When this card is Synchro Summon, you can add 1 Machine-type monster in your graveyard and add to your hand. Also, if you have no spell or traps in your graveyard, you cannot normal or special summon it or a monster with the same name for the rest of this turn if you have spell and traps. So remember, once again, not having them means you can at least summon that card back out. This card can attack and face up defense position. If it does, apply defense for damage calc. So being able to recycle your Super Heavy Samurais is a big plus for sure. With this card, being able to reuse your resources so you always have the plays to keep going. Plus, it's a level 5 Super Heavy Samurai, which we haven't had yet for the deck, so very useful there as well, just to have the different level options also. And I also run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Ogre Shutendoji. This is the one if your opponent has no spell or traps in their graveyard, you destroy all their spell and traps, being able to attack and defense as well, but being able to clear their back row is very, very scary altogether for this card especially. And I also run, for some of the other one-ups for the Super Heavy Samurais, the one Stealth Ninja. This one's great just for the being able to attack directly. And if this card was destroyed, you can special summon it the next standby phase after it was destroyed by a card effect back onto the field to reuse. Also, 1 Ninja Sarutobi, really good just for the option, if you have no spell and traps in your graveyard, to target a spell trap on the field and destroy it, and then inflict burn damage to your opponent if you need that burn damage if time is dwindling down as well. 1 Beast QB, being able to gain defense with this card also. 900 defense for each special summon monster your opponent controls, so you can really hit the numbers high with this one. 1 Susanoo, this card gains the ability to steal your opponent's spell and traps in the graveyard, so take them, reuse them, and then the card is banished, so they won't be able to reuse them themselves. 1 Super Heavy Samurai Steam Train King, with this one being your level 12 monster, a true boss monster at 4,800 attack. It's easier to get out with Battle Ball, because then you can just use your opponent's other monster to make it, but still a great powerhouse in the deck for sure. And for the last of the synchros, I run the 1 Naturia Beast. I don't know if anything's going to happen to Naturia Beast or if it already has on the ban list by the time this video is uploaded, but you can run Beast, Barkion, or even Gear Gigan X. This final spot can be whatever you want. I prefer Naturia Beast, but if anything does happen to it, you have other options to replace this card in the deck altogether. And for the Link monsters, I run the 1 Mrs. Radiant with the Super Heavy Samurais all being Earth, just a great way to boost up their power on the field also. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and 1 Borreload Dragon to finish off the extra deck. The synchros are a big part of the plays, and the fact now that with Master Rule we don't have the fear of them being only in the extra monster zone, you can summon plenty of them out into the main monster zone without having to use any of your resources for Link plays is really, really good altogether. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Definitely was happy to finally update Super Heavy Samurais. Been wanting this new support for a while. I'm glad we finally got it in Eternity Code. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.